Welcome back. This is still the Power Breakfast Show. Remember, you can continue communicating with us, 224422. That's the number. You can text us. Now, there's so much happening. He's here. We wanted to talk to him for a while. Everyone has a question for him. He's none other than Ababu Namwamba, the Budalangi legislator, and of course, ODM Secretary General. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, where have you been? Perhaps that's the biggest question everyone is asking. Where is Ababu Namwamba?
Fred, Ababu is here. Ababu is
and of course you chose to dress like me. Someone must have sent you a brief, huh?
I don't know whether you chose to dress like me or I chose to dress like you.
We should probably hold a competition for who wore it better. Anyway, yeah, you were saying, where have you been?
I've been around, Fred. Interesting question, really, because it's not like I've been absolutely missing in action. I've been around and about. It should also be appreciated that for about just over 1 month we've been away on recess. Okay. And recess is a period when we take time to spend a bit of time in the constituencies, in the counties, interact with the people, basically do a little bit more of the grassroots work than normal, than when we are in session as it is now. And also it's time just to touch base with family, and do a little bit of business.
Oh, when you mentioned family, congratulations on the birth of your son.
Oh, thank you very much.
How is that coming along?
Fantastic.
Sleepless night?
Yeah, of course, but it's a beautiful day, Fred. There's nothing more beautiful. I normally say this is God's most divine, most important responsibility placed on the shoulders of any man. So it's a beautiful thing.
And I know we'll revisit that point. We'll revisit that point at some point in the interview. But now, let's talk first about the most current news, the biggest debate, this hate speech. Of course, you know your colleagues, 6 of them, have been summoned to go record statements over utterances they made between Sunday and yesterday that have caused quite some ruckus. I know you understand this because these are people you work with and they're fairly young legislators. Yeah. What do you have to say for them?
Fred, let me tell you that as a leader, and this goes for any leader, you have a heavy responsibility. I have a responsibility in your utterances, in your actions, in your conduct, to serve the very best interest of the people, the very best interest of the country. And at a time when our country is going through the kind of challenges that we're experiencing today, so much division, so political temperatures at their possible highest. You want to see leaders conducting themselves in a manner where they do not inflame the situation any further. And especially with the experience, the very sad experience of the events, the aftermath of the 2007 elections. You want to imagine that we learned something. And if we learned anything, is that one misplaced word, one misplaced conduct could just be that trigger, the matchbox that lights the fire. And so I want to use this platform to urge caution, to urge moderation for every leader, whether you play on the same side with me in the opposition in CORD or on the other side of the river in Jubilee. We have equal responsibility placed upon us. Let us be moderate. Let us conduct ourselves and talk in a manner that brings our people together. But on the flip side of that, Fred, also, I want to see the security agencies or the law enforcement agencies to enforce the law without any favor, because sometimes you just get the feeling that there are certain people who are treated as if they're above the law, and ours then starts taking on the shape of the animal farm, where some are more equal than others. Anytime anybody offends the law, or breaks the law, let us see the full force the law brought to bear upon them, no matter who they are. Then we will start respecting the rule of law, and maybe just that could act as a deterrent.
Thank you so much, because I had to allow you to vent, because I know every person needs, and I think there's a message to be sent out there, and coming from you, I think it should get to your colleagues, and when you meet them, I'm sure you're going to help move that message forward. Now, let's revisit the issue of your absence, and I know you've explained about family, business, and it's all well understood, but it is the timing, rather, of this absence that is raising curiosity. At a time when your party has taken a certain stance on the IEBC matter, at a time when your party leader is leading the coalition, called coalition, on one direction, at a time when you're preparing for elections come next year, at a time when you have to set the agenda as the opposition, is it a time that the ODM Secretary General should be missing from action?
First of all, Fred, let it be appreciated that the responsibilities of a Secretary General must not be determined merely on the basis of an activity, such that, for instance, if I have not participated in a couple of events, then that becomes a measure of the level of my commitment. The work of a Secretary General is wide-ranging, a lot of responsibilities, and even when you talk about the challenge we are facing today of IEBC, I have been very consistent, persistent on this matter, and my position has always been that there's no doubt that IEBC as currently constituted suffers a grave trust deficit.
So should we understand it that yes, you are in agreement with the party position on IEBC?
Absolutely.
Like, what do you disagree with? Do you disagree with the method that your party has chosen to employ to make these matters, bring these matters to the fore?
The method that the movement has employed of mobilizing the people to express displeasure is constitutional. Article 37 of the Constitution grants every Kenyan the right to picket, to demonstrate, even though there is a rider in that article that peacefully and unarmed. And so I would be the last person as an attorney, and remember, Fred, I had the privilege, together with the Honorable Abdikadir Mohammed, of co-chairing the Parliamentary Select Committee that struck the political deal on this constitution. So I understand this constitution like the back of my hand. And I know that with the right to demonstrate, to picket, also comes the heavy responsibility to operate within the law, to be peaceful, not to damage or destroy property. And so I absolutely support the right of the people, the right of my party to mobilize people to express displeasure. What I have never supported, and I will never support, and I will never be party to, is violence. I'll never be party to incitement to violence. I'll never be party to conduct that breaches the rule of law, or conduct that goes beyond the clear limits of peaceful and unarmed picketing or demonstration as enacted in Article 37 of the Constitution. And actually, Fred, if you want to be look into your records, I have actually led a demo about 3 weeks ago. I led a demo in Kisii, and it was absolutely within the limits of the law. We mobilized. We did a very peaceful walk, march to the offices of the IEBC. We met the police officers there. Images from that demo can actually show me, or clearly show me talking to the commanding police officer. I explained to him the law. I explained to him why we were there, and we made our point. We made our statement. We submitted our petition, and then we dispersed peacefully, and that is how it is supposed to be.
And you say that you were able to actually lead a peaceful protest in Kisii.
Yes.
Shouldn't it therefore come from within the party's ranks that any other protest in any other part of this country on this matter or any other, that it is the leaders to guide their followers in terms of conducting a peaceful demonstration. And as a party Secretary General, I should think that you would be at the forefront of pushing for that kind of...
Fred, I've always, I mean, as the spokesman of the party, I have always said it, and I repeat it here. I repeat it here that anybody going out there to picket, to demonstrate, number one, be unarmed. Don't carry any arm of any kind, whether it's a machete or a stone or any missile of any form or complexion or character. Do not be armed. Number two, do not have any mindset, any intention to damage any property, to harm anybody. Merely go out there to express your position, your sentiments within the law. But the flip side of that also is that the police must conduct themselves as required by the law. Because in many instances, police have meted out violence on unarmed people, on defenseless people. We saw that horrifying image of a protester lying on the ground, unarmed, completely harmless, and you show the kind of violence that police officers meting on that helpless person. And so the police must also not provoke the people and use excessive force or excessive violence on the people. But we bear that responsibility, and as leaders, you correctly put it, as leaders we have a responsibility to guide our people, to make it clear to our people that as we go out, we must protect, we must operate within the law.
Are you therefore saying that you're either frustrated or disappointed at the turn of events? The turn of events, by that I mean that the demonstrations that have been led by your party leader have turned out violent.
I'm disappointed. I condemn the violence in the strongest terms imaginable. I condemn the violence.
But have the demonstrations achieved anything?
Oh yeah, the demonstrations have achieved the important element of drawing public attention to this matter. That we have to admit, that we have drawn public attention to this matter, that government has also realized how grave this matter is. That even IBC today, I was just reading a story quoting the sentiments expressed by the chairman himself, Isaac Hassan. IBC itself has now been able to acknowledge that they have a serious trust deficit. There's a credibility crisis here. And so yes, the picketing, the demonstrations have made a point, but the violence have no place in any civilized society. Because the moment you go the route of violence, people are dying, Fred. People are dying, people are losing limbs. Okay, people are getting injured. It's not necessary. We can achieve this, and ultimately we end up around a negotiating table like this without necessarily losing human lives. So please let us demonstrate peacefully, and the police stop excessive force.
Yes. But now, Mheshimiwa, your decision to take a step back in these demonstrations has definitely placed you at odds with some members of your party. Some are even seeking your position as Secretary General now. Remember, only a year back you were fighting accusations of being a Jubilee mob within ODM and CORD. And now, with only months left to the next elections, surely you must be a worried man that these things are happening.
Fred, I'm not worried. I'm not worried an inch. I'm not, but I'm going to tell you two things, because I have previously said that I'm not the kind of person who prevaricates or circumlocutes around issues I mean, I say it as it is. I shoot straight from the hip. And it must be acknowledged that my ascending or accession to the position of Secretary General was perilous. I had to overcome heavy odds within the party. It will be recalled that just at the moment when I was about to be overwhelmingly elected as Secretary General, all hell broke loose. You remember the famous Kisirani at Kasarani, the men in black. I hope you still have that record. I'd love for you to play me that.
I'm sure you have it
that record. And what is true and what cannot be disputed without any doubt is that there are some very powerful forces within the party that did not want me to be Secretary General. And they did not want me because of this nonsense of malls or nothing like that. A general who was highly acclaimed in the ODM ranks does not just wake up one morning and become a mall. It had nothing to do with whether you are a mall or anything. Those are silly excuses. It had everything to do with the fear of change, the fear of transformation, because I had made it very clear as my campaign platform that I wanted to transform the party, especially this culture of violence, this culture of messed up nominations, where people win nominations and the ticket is given to someone else, either because money has changed hands. I wanted to sweep all those things into the past. And so those forces that fought me to become Secretary General did not suddenly die when I eventually became Secretary General. They are still alive, and I believe those forces sort of gathered, and they have been strategizing. And I must admit that it has been a very frustrating 18 months in office as Secretary General. Maybe in the fullness of time, the country will someday know the extent of the frustration. And I'm not the kind of person who will sort of force myself to serve. I want to serve in an environment where I'm not merely tolerated. I want to serve in an environment where you are appreciated, where you do not have to fight hurdles. And
you said something, and in a few minutes I'll be asking you if you're still interested in that job of Secretary General.
I am the Secretary General.
Hold that thought. Right now I want us to get more views, more questions probably from social media. Willis Raburu, what's happening on Twitter?
All right, on Twitter we ask you to use the hashtag Power Breakfast as we engage Honorable Ababu Namwamba, and the comments are coming in. We have Ogega_Vincent who is saying, I must admit that we need more politicians like Ababu Namwamba, and Kenya will move forward. And if you can just scroll down and see the others as well. All right, just keep on scrolling down. We have others saying, of course, they say that they are absolutely in agreement with Ababu Namwamba. And just keep looking at some of the comments again. Klaus, we have the Ngosi saying, Karibu sana, Mheshimiwa. And then we keep scrolling down there. We have Benson Mudaki saying he's watching from Kapsabet. There's somebody here, Paul Wasonga, also saying Honorable Ababu, my hero. So the comments are still coming in. We keep going, and of course keep talking to us using the hashtag Power Breakfast as well. We have somebody else also asking, what are your plans for 2017? Perhaps you'll give us insights to that. Mheshimiwa, and all of them, of course, keep coming. Keep talking to us using the hashtag Power Breakfast, and our number, of course, is still 22422, and we'll keep engaging Mheshimiwa as well on this. So back to you, Fred.
Well, thank you, Willis. Thank you. Remember, guys, 22422 is the number to use. Yes, now we're back with Mheshimiwa. Yes, the question I asked you just before we went to social media is, are you still interested in that job of ODM Secretary General? Because as you said, it has been a very, very frustrating 18 months, and you want to serve in an environment that is accepting of you and your idea of how to change politics.
When I sought the position of Secretary General, I was not under any illusion as to the enormity of the challenge at hand. I knew that I would be dealing with some very deeply entrenched habits, and they say all habits die hard. Status quo, it's not easy to change status quo. There are people who have made a career, for instance, out of sabotaging the nomination process. There are people who survive merely on the politics of intimidating others or compromising the nomination process. And I knew that it would be tough, and it has been tough. There are also people who maybe because of the normal sibling rivalry would not want you to succeed because maybe they're already thinking succession within the party. And I was under no illusion. For instance, a few years ago, in the build-up to the 2013 elections, I put together a number of youthful party MPs and started a very exciting process that was called ODM Reloaded. And ODM Reloaded was intended to really reload the party, sort of re-energize the party. And we did very well across the country preparing for our presidential campaign. But it was sabotaged internally, and it never went all the way to the election time.
You also started Team Fresh?
I started Team Fresh. The purpose of Team Fresh was intended to refresh the party. And you could see the people who are part of Team Fresh. People like Governor Joho, Governor Nanok, myself, and many other young people who just wanted to give the party fresh impetus. Again, it was not allowed really to achieve its ultimate objective. Last year, I initiated it soon after I was named Secretary General. I initiated a process called Tokelezea ID. The purpose of Tokelezea ID was really to energize our base and help our base go out in numbers and get IDs and register as voters, because I just felt that we have not maximized with the voter potential. A lot of these things are interrupted, maybe because of certain forces that fear that either if some of these processes succeed, they'll elevate your status, and so it becomes difficult to implement some of these programs when there is that continual resistance, and the resistance is not from outside. The resistance is from within. For instance, the Men in Black did not come from Mars. They did not come from Pluto. They were
because you sound like you're really frustrated within the party. Does it have something to do with the age of these other people within the party? Because all these incentives, the ODM Reloaded, Team Fresh, they were made up of maybe the younger crop of leaders within the party. But it seems that at every point you get frustrated and drop it. At some point you get frustrated and drop it. Now Team Fresh, what's the future?
But whoever said change was easy, Fred, transforming any system,
but surely
it's not easy.
You seem to have taken a step back and decided, I think it's getting too hard. Let me just watch.
I mean, you know that even in war, the Napoleon once famously said, even great generals sometimes take a retreat so that
and you can regroup.
And
so you are regrouping.
Yeah, definitely. And I am certainly not the kind of person who I've said this before. I'm not the kind of person who will be forced to do something that I do not believe in. I only do something because I have faith in it, because I believe in it, and I am also a person who, when I reach a certain point where I must make a decision, I make that decision without any fear. I'm acknowledging the challenges I have faced, the challenges I continue to face, but I'm also saying that I am a free man. I'm not a slave. I'm not sort of held hostage. That should I be required to make any decision, I would absolutely make that decision without any fear.
Okay, you're also among the leaders from ODM, or rather the Code Coalition, who seem to be working easily with the other side of the political divide. We've seen images of you with Uhuru Kenyatta, which of course do not make members of your party very comfortable. You led a delegation to State House when there was a directive from your party that do not go for that meeting. And I don't know, doesn't this thing scare you?
Fred, first of all, let me just clarify that I would never led a delegation to State House.
You were part of the delegation.
Last year, what we call the Western Parliamentary Group engaged the president on the state of Mumia Sugar. And the president was actually planning to visit Mumia Sugar, and he engaged the Western Parliamentary Group and invited us over for a conversation under the chairmanship. The group has a chairman, Honorable Sakwa Bunyasi, member for Nambale, and so he was the leader of that delegation. But because Ababu was part of the 40, there were 40 members of parliament there. The cameras only saw Ababu Namwamba, but anyway, that is okay. Now, engaging rivals. It is mature politics to engage rivals. It is maturity. And in any case, how many images have I seen of Raila Odinga or Moses Wetangula, with Uhuru Kenyatta, with William Ruto, it never becomes an issue. So really, we must also stop these double standards. That if today Ababu Namwamba hosted Uhuru Kenyatta in Budalangi, it's an issue. But if Raila Odinga was on hand to receive Uhuru Kenyatta in Kisumu, then it's not an issue. Honestly, let us be honest with one another. And then we also engage in this kind of very puerile, very base profiling. For instance, if Musalia Mudavadi has anything to do with Uhuru Kenyatta, then he has been bought, then he has been compromised. But if it's someone else, then it is okay. Please, that is crap. And I believe that real leaders, mature leaders, will, without a doubt, acknowledge and appreciate moments when they must talk, when they must come together in the best interest of the people. I appreciate and I'm proud of that moment when leaders from the western region of Kenya engaged the president and started the process that is now helping to revitalize and revive the fortunes of Mumia Sugar. When 9/11 happened in New York, in the US, in 2001, leaders across the political divide, the GOP, the Democrats, rallied together. I remember George W. Bush addressing the nation from the rubbles of the World Trade Center in New York, surrounded by leaders from across the board, including Democrats. And for me, that is just maturity. So there's absolutely no reason why leaders across the political divide must not engage. And there is a difference between these two English words. Look at the dictionary. There's a difference between an enemy and a rival. We are certainly not enemies. Only rivals.
Okay, let's go back to the issue of Western Kenya politics. And of course, there's talk that Ford Kenya, which is part of the Code Coalition, is making inroads into Budalangi. They want to have a candidate, to sponsor a powerful candidate to rival you in Budalangi, which has been your base. Your is basically your political base.
It is my home.
Once you no longer have Budalangi, that's it. Now, don't you think that maybe it's your actions within the party or coalition that is fueling?
No, Fred. First
because
of all,
surely they should respect the Secretary General of ODM.
No, Fred. Hold on. Let us be, sometimes we twist little facts here and there to achieve certain ends. But the truth is that since 2007, when I first ran for Budalangi, I have always faced competition. For me to become Member of Parliament in 2007, two things happened. Number one, I faced an ODM nomination. Those are facts that people never talk about. I ran against two candidates for the ODM ticket. One, John Osogo, and some other gentleman called John Mark Okondo. And I beat them flat. For the general election in 2007, I ran against a Ford Kenya candidate. Raphael Wanjala was a Ford Kenya man. I beat a Ford Kenya candidate plus 11 other opponents in 2007. In 2013, I was one among 16 candidates for the Budalangi parliamentary seat. Among those candidates, among those 16, was a Ford Kenya candidate, a gentleman called Engineer Achoka Luluba, who was the candidate for Ford Kenya. And so for someone to imagine that me facing a Ford Kenya candidate in 2017 is something novel, something big, that they're powerful. The most powerful politician in Budalangi is seated in this studio right now.
We have it right here on Citizen TV, on the Power Breakfast.
And so it's nothing. What I can actually tell, whether it is Ford Kenya, I can only tell them, bring it on. Even within ODM, I say this all the time in Budalangi and elsewhere, that to demonstrate that I'm really committed to free, fair and credible party primaries, I want it to start in Budalangi. If there is anybody in Budalangi listening to me right now that covets the ODM ticket, Ababu Namwamba is ready to face you mundo for mundo in a party primary, which will be fair, which will be free, which will be credible. So all these little things really amount to nothing. I value competition because I believe it's the foundation of democracy.
And finally, Mheshimiwa, finally, I remember back in 2008 when you were being sworn into Parliament and you swore allegiance to Raila Odinga, your party leader, and from then on you were described as a firebrand. You were being compared to Julius Malema of South Africa, as in terms of you stand for what you believe and you go ahead with it. Yeah. Are we now seeing a change? Are we seeing a mellowed Ababu Namwamba? Has family life changed you and changed the way you view politics?
Actually, they say wine only gets better with age. You age wine. I have a few bottles of a very precious wine called Rubicon. It's a Merlot I picked up from South Africa, Stellenbosch, the capital of wine brewing. And these bottles are we serve them gradually, and you can actually feel that it's better with age. It gets better with age. And Ababu has only got better. The Ababu of the night of January 15, 2008 was a very eager young man, just arriving on the scene of parliamentary politics. Even though, by the way, I had been around in civil society and other arena, and my action on that night, which caught the public imagination, was really just a statement of there was a lot of symbolism in it. Symbolism which was expressing disaffection with what I felt amounted to defilement of our democratic culture, democratic space. And Ababu has really never changed. Ababu has just matured and become better. And actually the man you're watching right now is a more balanced politician and more focused, but the fire in the belly of Ababu Namwamba, politically speaking, still burns even more fiercely. And on the things I believe in, whether it is family, whether it is political ideology of social justice, that still remains the foundation upon which I play my politics.
Okay, Mheshimiwa, let's end it there. Thank you so much. The fire still burns deep within. We have a more balanced politician in the studio today, Ababu Namwamba himself. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa, for agreeing to this interview.
Asante sana.
Now, remember,